forget going for uniques or supers, I will go for things that are so unique that they are not unique. Now what am I talking about? The moon, of course. The recipe went from 1 million to 100,000 rocks, which makes it a viable thing to grind. Where is the best place to grind for it? Rock zone with a bunch of ants. And most certainly in a squad. I already had this amount of rocks before doing this, which is a slight head start, I will say. But if you think the rates are very fast, you would be very much mistaken, as this area mostly spawns ants, because it's right next to the anthill portal. Who would have expected such a thing to happen? If you ever do this and think the rates are bad, just pretend they're mythics. Don't take notice of any of the other petals I have, just focus on the rocks. But if you want to focus on my other petals, then go ahead. Who am I to stop you? But this is about rocks. I will mainly be destroying rare moons. And so because of this, most of the drops will be unusual rocks. So we know which one we're getting, Unusual Moon. And as I began grinding for this, the developer showed up and spawned a unique rock right on the portal. What a lovely present. However, I've already shown this, so I'm not going to show it all. But you will see me obtaining the drops, and you will totally see me not obtain the moon. But it would have been so incredibly ironic if I did get the Ultra Moon drop in the rock zone. Well, even if I did obtain it, I still would have gone for the Unusual Moon, because at this point it's basically a flex petal, until it is not. And I'm sure you've guessed already, but I'm not the only one going for it. Many players are going for it. I just joined a little later than the rest, and so when they eventually got their moons they would do this less. But some of them would still help myself and others obtain the Unusual Moon. I even went the extra mile and destroyed all the rocks outside of this zone, which was most likely a bad idea since unusual drops only last 20 seconds. But I think I had enough time before I could come back and loot them all. Any way to get further ahead? Well, this is a low effort way to obtain the loot, except in the corners when they will despawn. And when the occasional ultra spawns, it acts like a super. So imagine what would happen if a super ever spawned here. Well, as long as it's super rock and nothing else. Maybe anthill, but preferably rock. Now this is a lot of unusual rocks, or even rare rocks. Maybe all these leaves could be used for something. Who knows? The amount of rocks killed is stacking up. Very well. I'm not sure if summons help, but they certainly won't help if they're outside the rock zone. Approaching 20,000 unusual rocks. Now after this I will eventually pull further ahead, as I don't think you want to see every single moment that happened here, because it's just us farming with uranium. These inactive checks are nothing compared to what I've dealt with before, and so I am not going to reset it. The most amount of rocks I achieved without leaving the server, and very occasionally I did go for a super, such as the termite egg, the incredibly rare ones or ones I need, which in fairness I need termite egg for ant egg because, you know, more eggs potentially, and after I loot it, I return, because of course I return. Is using boost here worth it? I only used it once throughout my entire time here, and I would prefer to use it basically everywhere else, as I do not think it's worth it. Feel free to use it yourself here though, if you feel like you want to use less time here. Overall, the one time I play with a fellow subscriber, who apparently wants me to mark them. Why? I don't really know. Reaching 60,000 sometime later, I wasn't taking this too seriously, but I still had the time to obtain it. 75,000 though, this is where I was picking things up, and speedrunning to the finish. Don't mind the players flexing their unusual moons, and squares, although this is from a mimic, no one has ultra square yet, but what a great illusion it is to see someone with an ultra square. If this is their way of cheering us on, then thanks I guess, as I am getting closer and closer with each clip that I'm showing, and if I get Ultra Mimic before Ultra Moon, I could use that to mimic the Unusual Moon. But I do not have that yet. How to make the rates go even faster? Well, you block certain areas and corners of the rock zone. Then we can all get to the unusual moon faster. Such a lovely strategy. 90,000 unusual rocks. 10,000 left. Who would have thought that I would be grinding for a lower tier petal like Unusual Moon, as well as killing over 100,000 rare rocks. To achieve this moon, curb the random player wanting to use corruption, so I will hunt them down, since I know they like to troll. So you're out of here. I ain't going to be trolled today by a corruption user. Unless it's me doing it. And they return. Big mistake. Well, you are going down. I don't care. You are ruining the rates, and I will not allow that. So you must perish. Maybe I would be fine with it if you just simply did this elsewhere, but we have things to do here, and of course you want me to leave you alone. Luckily for you, I am almost done with my quest. So as of right now, you will be spared. So close to finishing my quest that I am actually right here. I just need a few more rocks to obtain 100,000, and here I am, obtaining 100,000 unusual rocks. You know what it means now? It means I go to the factory to assemble the unusual moon, and finding the unusual assembler may take quite a while, and knowing my luck with assemblers, the game loves to troll me at any given moment. So I am prepared to wait a lot longer than usual for this. And funnily enough, I found the unusual moon recipe on the first try. For once I didn't have to wait long to obtain the unusual moon. Look at how glorious it is, look at these statistics. It's amazing. And now I will use it. I don't know what build to use for this, but I will figure this out in time. But currently I want you to see this, and I want you to see how much smaller it is compared to the Ultra Moon. Now it really looks like a bowling ball. This is my first time controlling the unusual bowling ball, as I do not have Ultra Moon. So to all you professional moon users, laugh or help or do none of these things. Just watch as you see myself use it. The next step, eventually, is to see how far I can reach with just this moon, and I would need to use Ankh properly for this, as well as using it on monsters or even players. That will be an interesting task, without breaking the moon. I guess using it on Mecha Flower is a good start, but at the same time, you never know where they will move. Now that I have Unusual Moon, what about the other rarities? Common Moon is something on my list, however this will take a lot longer, with or without a squad, and this will be something I will do when I am able to. And I probably will not be crafting any rocks except Mythic and Ultra. Let's face it, I am not getting 100,000 Mythic rocks. 100,000 Mythic rocks is a guaranteed super rock, I'm telling you, and I would rather get those first than a stupid ass lower tier moon. I will show the squad I was in the unusual moon, so that they know I have it, and I will probably never be farming here again in a squad. Maybe I will, who knows. Maybe if I am very close to the rare moon. I am already almost 30% of the way there, so it could happen. Also, if you want to know how big the moon is, just use your airs. You will then find out how big the moon really is. The unusual moon is just slightly larger than the rare air. Fear the unusual moon? Maybe. As for now, I will continue to farm rocks. All of the rocks. From common to super. And I guess unique since the developer spawned it, as well as my scheduled farming in other places. I do hope there will be just as many rare petals in the future, because to be honest, that would be one way to buff Mimic. That is also something I basically need now. But that's another time. I will enjoy the unusual moon. Now that you predicted this in front of my flower face, I will not title the video this. Maybe your prediction would have been correct. You fool!